ready for a little bit of salt? Today we're going to be covering one of the Sony ponies out there, because a lot of them, in fact most of them on this platform, are very disingenuous. They're very dishonest, they move the goalposts, and they live in a world of delusion. You see, think what you want about me, but I don't suffer from any of that. I will tell you exactly how it is each and every time. I will praise Sony when they deserve praising. I'll bash Xbox if they deserve bashing. I'm not loyal to any plastic box. I'm just loyal to my own experiences when it comes to gaming. But these ponies, man, they are something else. So today we're going to be covering we have Bill Gilberg at home himself, Xvault Gaming. So this video is from 3 days ago. And I was just watching it, and I was like, you know what? I did actually watch this live on my channel, and I thought, you know what? I'll do a video on this video. I'll react to it because it really is something else. So let's just get into some of the things he says and see if we can rebuttal some of the things that he says. I mean, who am I to rebuttal the great mastermind that is Xvault? I mean, I'm just an idiot. But let's see what intellectual arguments he can manifest in today's video. Here we go.
But as you can see here, we're talking about sales. This isn't console sales, we're talking about software sales, mind you. But as you can see, he posts Astrobot, 1.5 million sales. Prince of Persia, 1.3 million in sales. Hellblade 2, 500K on top of Game Pass engagement, because we have to use engagement and player numbers, MUAs, MAUs, whatever you want to say there. And then, of course, 2024 was the year of great games not selling. Let's leave Astrobot off of this completely, folks, because 1.5 million based on one system, that's pretty amazing.
Yo, my guy, stop it. At least just call a spade a spade. Let's just remove Astrobot from the conversation because, guys, it's only on sale for one system. It doesn't count. It's been selling amazing, bruv. That one system has an install base of 75 million. Are you mad? Let's not pretend it being exclusive to PlayStation was somehow a hindrance to it, right? One, Astrobot had no competition in that space. There was no other game on PlayStation like it at the time of launch, right? It was the biggest platformer releasing on PlayStation, with the best integration of DualSense technology. On top of that, it was a sequel to Astrobot 1, which came pre-installed on every single PlayStation 5, so everyone had access to it. So it was running on the back of all of that momentum. It was marketed as this big exclusive for the Sony system. So what are you talking about? Let's just remove Astrobot because it was sold on one system. Yeah, the system which, as you, and rightfully so many people will throw around the sales numbers of that system because it is leading massively in that space. It has the greatest install base of 75 million plus. So why discount that? This is how disingenuous you are. This is why you're a fraud, a fake, and a liar, Xvault. Because you try and downplay any failure. At least call it as it is if you want some credibility behind what you are saying, my guy. Ratchet and Clank sold more copies, bruv, when PlayStation 5's install base was paled in comparison to what it is now. What are you talking about, bro? 2%, around 2% of everyone on PlayStation turned up to buy Astrobot, the sequel to a game loved by everyone, which came on everyone's system and everyone had access to it. No one turned up to buy that game, bro. And they're going to stand here and go, it's so great. Let's just not talk about Astrobot, people, because it was only sold on PlayStation. Only sold, bruv. You can't keep quoting sales numbers, my guy, and then say, oh, it only sold on PlayStation. It is either selling really well and has millions of people on that system and it is dominating the world of console gaming, or it isn't. You can't have it both ways. Because if that's valid, then it's also valid that Astrobot didn't sell shit, my guy. Be truthful and stop lying.
and it's continually gone. Of course, he made this post as of end of January, but this is based off of Timur 222, if you will. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown sold 1.3 million units in its first year. Okay, again, we're looking at Prince of Persia and Hellblade 2 both being on a, multiple consoles. Hellblade 2 obviously being on Xbox and then PC, but nonetheless, it's not locked to one new gen console or generation or anything like that.
Okay, Xvault. First of all, Prince of Persia is a AA game. It isn't a first-party exclusive. It wasn't heavily marketed like Astrobot was, and it appeals to a more niche audience. It's a 2D side-scrolling game. It doesn't have the mass appeal of a game like Astrobot should have. So this is a very weak comparison. Trying to suggest that should have been more successful because it was on PC and it was on Xbox is absolutely ludicrous and a stupid thing to say when you compare the budget of both games, the marketing of both games, and the install base that Sony have access to should have seen Astrobot dwarfing Prince of Persia, my guy. And then you have the audacity to talk about Hellblade 2. Well, let's talk about Hellblade 2, shall we? Hellblade 2 didn't sell well, 500,000 plus Game Pass, but a lot more people than those who bought it will have played it because of Game Pass. But let's deal with the sales since that's what we're talking about, right? There's a big difference between Hellblade 2 and Astrobot 2. That being that Astrobot 2 is a very easily accessible game. Meant really for everyone, and it is a love letter to PlayStation fans. It was really made for the people on the system. It was marketed very heavily as a love letter to PlayStation fans. They was really driving that, and that was its selling point, in hopes that every PlayStation fan would want to buy Astrobot, and they didn't. In contrast to that, Hellblade suits a more niche audience. I'm not going to say it sold well, because it didn't. It could have sold more, but the first game was an indie title, right? And it's not a game that's for everyone. In fact, it could trigger quite a lot of people because of its content and its themes. That's the difference in this situation. So again, to compare Hellblade to Astrobot is a very silly comparison. Astrobot should have monumentally, titanically dwarfed the sales of Hellblade and Prince of Persia. And the fact that it didn't is a massive failing. And you can't stand there and say that it isn't, bruv, because it is. It was catering to every PlayStation fan. I bought it, I loved it. I enjoyed all the IPs on display there. I enjoyed all the fan service that the game offered me. But for some reason, I'm a bigger fan than most of you, because most of you didn't buy it. And to stand here and try and downplay it and suggest that it was selling well and that it's doing great, it's just a lie. It's disingenuous, man. Be better than that. You want to make content to your audience? Fine. You want to call other people grifters? That's fine. But don't grift yourself. Be honest, it's so badly. You can say it. It's not going to hurt you, man. Hellblade didn't sell well. I'm not going to say it did, because it didn't.
Like Astrobot is and continues to be, and it's going to be bundled with the system of PlayStation 5s, right? I think that's very smart.
You're damn right it's smart. It ain't selling nothing, Xvault, so they're going to bundle it in with every PS5 just to, accelerate those sales numbers. Of course it's smart. You know why they're doing it, bruv.
But do we see the defense mechanism set up here? Do we see how salty this dude is? Like, look, it's not just Xbox games and other multi-plat games. Astrobot is in a heap of trouble. See, they just don't sell. They just don't sell. Great games don't sell. Bull crap. Yes, Astrobot sold very well. It's only a matter of time for word of mouth goes out from all the casuals even that it did win Game of the Year for 2024. That is huge. It's going to continue to do more. There's going to be sequels. This is an established IP at this point. I can't wait. I know a lot of you others can't wait as well. But ultimately, trying to play that damage control, right? It's absolutely insane.
You know what's absolutely insane, Xvault? You going on a rant, trying to justify Astrobot in massive defense mode, trying to damage control the hell out of its sales figures. Like, it's only a matter of time before word of mouth spreads and people start buying it. The fact you even have to say that says that it didn't sell well. Because if you're saying it needs to rely on word of mouth from casuals and from other people, then you are admitting as a byproduct of that statement that it's not selling well. Because it's only a matter of time before people talk about it. You yourself are accusing other people of damage control, saying it's insane, while doing nothing other than damage controlling Astrobot, bro. It's ludicrous. Like, how are you not self-aware enough of your words to understand how much of a hypocrite you actually are, my guy? It begs belief, bro. Like, you are damage controlling right now. Seriously, bro. This is embarrassing, my guy. Anyway, he had something to say about console sales, which again only proves the point about Astrobot, because the PS5 is continuing to sell really well, and still Astrobot isn't. But he also had some things to say about Avowed very late when he broke this news, as it had already been covered many times by many other channel creators. Obviously, my guy is struggling to find content. But let's just see what he had to say about Avowed.
Avowed director says, game will be janky, asks fans to accept it, basically. You gotta accept some jank to do something fun. And I don't disagree there, but I think it's interesting because accept that this game isn't in a full polished AAA mode, guys. Accept this, right? This has been the theme of Xbox this entire generation, if not last generation, with the games like Crackdown and stuff like that. It's been just the acceptance of what has been known to be created as Game Pass fodder. This is the problem there.
See, this is my problem with a creator like Xvault and Reforge and people like that. They're so bedded down in their fandom and their bias that it's hard to take anything they say seriously. The moment he calls it Game Pass fodder, you know you need to stop paying attention to what he's saying, because he lacks any ability to remain objective with anything that comes to Xbox. So I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't say a game looks bad or whatever because it was on PlayStation. I think Phantom Blade Zero looks amazing and I can't wait to buy it. Do you know what I mean? But he's like Game Pass fodder. He's just got a very negative view on Xbox, and that just seeps out of everything he makes. But talking about the Avowed thing, what is wrong with transparency? How many developers actually come forward and say, look, it's going to be a bit janky? Do you know what I mean? They don't. A lot of them aren't very transparent. They're not very honest about this sort of stuff. There's nothing wrong with a developer actually being honest with its consumers and saying, look, it does play at 60, but it might be a bit janky. That's putting your expectations in check, so that we don't all play it and be like, hang on, I'm dropping frames. I mean, I didn't really get performance issues with it. I was playing on balance mode at 40 FPS with an uncapped frame rate with VRR, and I didn't get any jank playing it. But I don't think developers coming out and being honest about this stuff could ever be seen as a bad thing. And trying to act like every game that comes out in Game Pass is suddenly like inadequate and performs really badly, just again highlights your disingenuous nature, which you are quite well known for at this point.
Sony, it's time to port your games on Xbox because your fans are not buying your games with that very low profit margin.
You know when someone does this? It means that they don't know what to say. It's a way to try and dismiss an argument by pretending to laugh at it. Like, oh, that's such a silly thing to say. When really, in reality, the fact that PlayStation titles sell so abysmally bad over at PlayStation, what, Ragnarok, less than 9% of people turn up to buy it. Do you know what I mean? Like, Ghost of Tsushima, like, 4 5%, Astrobot 2%. The argument that PlayStation would see a lot of financial benefit in porting these games to the Xbox and have access to an entire new ecosystem is a non-brainer from a business standpoint. You know damn well behind closed doors they are looking at that as an option. If you don't think they are, then you're in for a big shock one day, because they are. If PlayStation games were selling enough, they wouldn't have ever started porting them on the PC. The fact that that exists shows you that financially they're not earning enough money. So the possibility, look, PlayStation do not care as much about fanboy nonsense as much as you do. They don't care about this console war shit, right? If they can see a massive profit intake from releasing it, they are discussing that as an option. And I hope for your mental health that doesn't happen one day, because I don't know how you will handle that. How I would love to see the ponies move the goalposts on this one. Because the Xbox guys don't really care, right? Once I played Halo and Gears of War and started experiencing these Xbox legacy games, I was like, they should go to PlayStation. I want everyone to experience this stuff. I'm not going to gatekeep gaming at my age. I think everyone should experience these games. Let people play where they want. It doesn't hurt or affect me. If Horizon goes to PlayStation and has advancements, let it. I think anyone who's bought the Pro deserves all the enhancements they can get. They've earned that right. But let's just continue on and see what he has to say.
Do you see how these guys misinform? This is the problem I have. I don't care. Guys, I don't care. And I'm talking, when I'm saying guys especially, I'm saying the Xbox fans and fanboys out there. I don't care, and most of us don't care where you prefer to play. It's not that. Why I do what I do, why we do what we do on this channel, why we feature a salty batch problem and the files and everything else. This is the problem, right? This is the problem. People misleading and lying. Why is Estelle lying? Because, look, why is Xbox in the position it's in? Because of Game Pass, because of Phil lying, because of him being a used car salesman, because of people like Estelle and Colt and Gaz and everybody and Alex and just everybody in that whole circle.
Xvault, your mentality disturbs me. How you put people in this group of being the villains. Like Alex and Gaz and everyone else, that anyone who happens to prefer Xbox is somehow the enemy. They're everything that's wrong with this game that we play. They're the bad people. PlayStation good, Xbox bad. It's a very limited mental outlook, which quite frankly for a man of your age, Bill Gilberg, is quite worrying. Do you know what I mean? Could it be that maybe they just have a different view because they have a different view? Do you know what I mean? But no, according to Ponies, anyone with a different view is grifting. They are bad. They are the bad people.
They continue to lie, mislead, and shift that narrative. Xbox fans, the ecosystem, you guys aren't buying the games. Some of you are. I understand that. It's not a 100% data statistical thing where none of you are buying the games day one or at full price. However, Game Pass has made that a sustainability system for you as a consumer over there to rent those games, and you guys be okay with that. PlayStation putting their first-party games over there is not going to help or change anything for PlayStation, but hurt it, because A, those games aren't going to sell.
This is what I don't understand about you, Xvault. How can you try and demonize and antagonize other creators on this platform by saying that they're not truthful, that they're not honest, that they lie and spread misinformation, when you yourself just sat there with a straight face, looked in the camera and said that games don't sell on the Xbox? That is a lie. To dare suggest that Xbox people just rent games and they don't buy them, that's a false narrative projected by you and people like you. Games do sell on the Xbox. Guess what? Not everything is available on Game Pass. Many people bought Space Marines. Many people buy many games through the Xbox store because people on Xbox, they're gamers as well, bruv. And a game that isn't on Game Pass, they will buy. Do you know why we buy? Because we save so much money on Game Pass, we have the money and the ability to just buy the games when they come out not available on Game Pass. This is a false, fake narrative spread by false, fake people like you. And you need to do better, bruv. If you're going to try and accuse other people of being not honest and spreading misinformation, don't then spread misinformation yourself just to try and prove a point in a narrative of your own favour. That's ridiculous. Just like how you can't put your disc plate straight is also ridiculous, but I'm not even getting into that because it will drive me insane. And to suggest that Sony and PlayStation would gain no benefit from their games going over to Xbox, again, it's another lie. It's sheer copium by you. It's just to even say that is stupid. It lacks any foundation of common sense whatsoever. It has no logic on any metric that does not make sense. You just don't want them to go over to Xbox because you're a fanboy and your little fanboy itty bitty brain cannot handle that if it ever was to come to pass. It's nothing to do with if they would benefit or not. To suggest that, say if God of War went over to Xbox, no one would buy it, sort yourself out, bruv.
The biggest problem with the gaming industry right now is that you have games like this that are better than PlayStation, games like God of War, in every way, all caps, as a game from graphics, from graphics to gameplay to story. But because it's now Xbox, it will never get the unanimous praise it deserves. Again, when you get bits of truth here, touting this stuff and him lying and being caught in lies over and over again, it kind of follows the same theme as the previous post.
Okay, this will be my last rebuttal because I can't stomach any more of Xvault at this point. But before this segment, he attacked Colt Eastwood's review of Avowed, right? Which is silly because the review is ultimately an opinion, right? Him saying he loved it and gave it an 8 doesn't mean that he's not being honest. Doesn't mean you can't, look, you might not want to trust his review, you can think he's biased, whatever, you don't need to pay attention to it, but to attack the man because he gave Avowed an 8 out of 10 and he enjoyed the game is absolutely ludicrous. What, a guy can't enjoy a game now without being judged by you? Now, in everything else you said, you know what, I'm going to surprise you now, Xvault, and pretty much prove you wrong in how you think that me and other people think. I agree with you. I don't agree with Colt's review, and I don't agree with many people's reviews. But first, let's talk about Xbox tax. That is a real thing. I have noticed it. And if Avowed was on PlayStation, it would have reviewed stronger. You guys would have... If that was a PlayStation exclusive, you guys would have hyped up Avowed like it was the greatest thing. Like it was the second coming of Jesus in RPG form. You guys would have gone mental about it, right? I personally think it was mid. I think it was okay. I think Avowed is serviceable as to someone who is maybe new to RPG games. It doesn't break any boundaries. It's not going to do anything that anyone's really going to remember. Its story isn't really going to leave much lasting impact. Its gameplay is okay. Everything it does is quite modest. Now what? I mean, I'm apparently an Xbox drifter, but I just said Avowed is mid. Now what? What is that? Is that frying your brain? I bet you're just blinking at the screen right now, unsure what to do next, right? Oh my god, how is he down? I don't think it was that good. And I think God of War slaps the hell out of it in every iteration. I think God of War 2018 is much better. I think Ragnarok is much better than Avowed. I don't think Avowed was that good. Oh, now what do? We actually agree on something, Xvault. Would you look at that? That's called independent thinking. I'm not going to say it's great just because it's on Xbox. You see the difference between you and I? I don't think you would ever say that about a PlayStation game, bruv. I don't think you'd ever say it. Not publicly, you might think it, but you'd never say it publicly. That's where you and I are different. I will tell it how it is. My opinion is unbiased. I'll say something's great if I liked it, and if I didn't, I'll say it isn't. Do you know what I mean? That's where I am not disingenuous, and I am honest and truthful, and you are a liar. Anyway, everyone, that's the video for today. Sorry it's been too long. I couldn't go for any more of it. There's other points he made in the video, but go check it out. I'll put the link in the description, and you can scroll through it and look at the other points that he made. Anyway, that's the video for today. Take care, Bruvnation. Let me know in the comments below what you think of our good friend Gilberg. Anyway, peace. Or not peace, because clearly I've chose violence with this video, but hell, I can take it.